Here's an interesting article that just caught my attention out of CNBC as of today. And so it's one thing that not only are we heading to a global slowdown or currently in one with all the talks of another recession coming soon, but yet here we have an article here on the side effects of some of the monetary policy that has been implemented since the Great Recession officially started 08, 09, and has continued on and been papered over and plastered over with quantitative easing as well as all types of other stimulus measurements. And so here it talks about who has paid the most. And it says American savers lost an estimated $500 billion due to low interest rates since the financial crisis. And this is just the beginning, in my opinion. But as always, I'm going to scroll through this article, briefly give you some of my thoughts, and more importantly, leave the link for you below to find out more for yourself. But it's interesting that it looks like as of today, there'll be some bankers meeting before the Financial Open Market Committee or whatnot, or the committee, as it mentioned here. But yet, some of the things that I've mentioned about what has been lost. It says Americans have lost $500 billion to $600 billion in interest payments on bank accounts and money market funds thanks to Federal Reserve's post-financial crisis policies. And what's another thing that's interesting is that not only have interest been lost, but yet they've created something completely new called cash back. And so as opposed to parking your money and lending it to the banks and allowing them to utilize it and give you interest, what they've instead given us is you have to spend now in order to get some of that cash back. And basically they'll cut some of the fees or whatnot and give it to you in the form of cash back. So they actually have majority of the world now thinking that cash back is the equivalent of interest earned on parking your money in their banks. But it says here, Mayo included in the statistic in a research note about the congressional hearing scheduled for today is called Holding Mega Banks Accountable, a review of global systemically important banks 10 years after the financial crisis. So within this report here, he's come up with some of these conclusions here. And so give you an idea what's going on here. It says, as CEOs of the several biggest U.S. banks gathered in Washington to testify before the Democratic-led House Financial Services Committee, Mayo pointed out that one long-lasting impact from the crisis, caused in part by irresponsible bank behavior, is suppressed interest rates. So we all know that over the last decade, the Fed cut bench rate interest rates to down there near zero. And over the last couple of years, as it says here, they've raised it to where it's currently at now, about 2.5%. And all along, the adjustment in accordance to that increase in the interbanking rates has not changed to where they haven't given much more rather interest on our savings as well as the money market accounts there. So people haven't been getting the appropriate amount of interest on parking their money. And so here it says, despite the punishment it may give savers, President Donald Trump earlier this month urged the Fed to lower rates again to spark faster economic growth. So not only are we supposed to be in a expansion or recovery or whatever they want to tell us, but now President Donald Trump just recently mentioned that he wants to cut rates even lower, below the 2.25 where it's currently at now, or 2.5 where it's currently at now. And so this is something to be aware of because once again, everyone that has large amounts of money, currency in banks are the ones that will become victims of these type of policies here as we move further ahead into more territory where it's going to be problematic and they need to cut rates further and then possibly, God forbid, but go negative or something of that nature. So these are some stories that are definitely worth taking note of because once again, it's more of the signs of what's happening now and what's to come, especially if it's been 10 years of suppression of interest rates, where it has yielded zero or basically no interest upon accounts. Imagine what happens the next 10 years as things probably go worse and cash becomes a threat to where we have to now pay the banks to hold funds if they go below zero with the interest rate. So just something to think about. Thought I'd take a minute, share this quick article with you. More importantly, take time to read it for yourself. Let me know your thoughts at the bottom. Curious to find out what you think. Have a good day.